Welcome everybody to Level 1 Colored Pencil. Okay, before we begin, I just want to show you the difference between the thumbs up success criteria and the one that you're not going for over here. So for the cross hatching, the small lines are close together. You can see that, the difference between that and that. For burnishing, the color is shiny and smooth with not a lot of visible lines. See how you can see the pencil lines right here? That's not what we want. For stippling, there's lots of dots, and they're not small lines, there actually are dots, and there's not a lot of white space there. Over here, lots of white space. For scribbling, I really tried to have controlled scribbles in here with some value. So I've got some darks, mediums, and light tones here. On this one, it's just kind of a tornado. For the light pressure blending, the color is light, but you can't really see lines between the colors. See how there's like a definite red part and a definite yellow part? That's not what we want. We want it to really be blended together. And for heavy pressure blending, it's the same thing with you don't want it to be blocks of color like this. You want the colors to blend together, except obviously heavy pressure, we pressed a little bit harder and got a really nice dark color. All right. Happy pencils. Good luck. The first thing you want to do is get your name and class at the top of your paper. Once you've got your name and your class at the top of the paper, we're going to start with some cross-hatching, which is basically just making some parallel lines going across the length of the rectangle there. And then you can change your color if you want to see what a different effect, a different color will make going in the other direction. I'd love to see you experiment with not only with different colors, but leaving different amounts of space in between the lines and seeing what effect that makes. Go for it. Go ahead and pause this video and experiment with cross-hatching. Okay, and the next step is stippling. And what stippling is basically you're just making some little tiny dots with your pencil. And what I'd like you to experiment with is what happens if the dots are super close together? What happens if the dots are further apart? How is that effect different? What happens if I layer one color of dots with another color of dots near it? Stippling can be a little bit difficult on your hands. It can make your hand quite tired. So I would encourage you to pause the video, take a little break, stretch out your hand, and also kind of experiment with different ways of holding the pencil and kind of using different muscles. What you don't want to do is get sloppy and crazy. You do want to keep it under control. So pause the video and do a little bit of stippling on your own. Okie dokie, so after all that stippling, your hand needs a little bit of a break. So we're going to try some light pressure blending. So what you want to do is you want to start coloring on one side of that rectangle, and we're just coloring actually quite lightly here, so you can see some of that paper in between. In between the strokes there, but what I'm doing is I'm going over and over and over so that you actually can't see the stroke marks of the pencil anymore. And I'm pressing a little bit harder all the way on the left-hand side. And as I go towards the middle, I'm becoming more and more gentle. I'm not pressing as hard with the pencil, as you can see right there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go do the same thing on the other side with another color. And I chose blue because blue and green are near each other on the color wheel. And so, yeah, there we go. I'm starting with the blue, and I'm going to get a little bit darker as I go to the other side. But I do want you to look, and you really don't see that many pencil marks. That is my challenge to you. So color lightly, but not so lightly that it kind of looks scribbly and you see lots of pencil marks. Give it a go. Pause this video and see if you can try some light pressure blending on your own. Okay, now that your hand had a little break, we are going to really put the pedal to the metal with some burnishing. And burnishing can really be a cool effect with colored pencils. It can almost look like oil paint if it's done right with really vibrant colors. So what I am doing around here is I'm just coloring in the edges of the rectangle, and I'm actually going pretty hard with the pencil, but I'm also doing a little bit of shading. So all the way on the edge of the rectangle is quite dark, and then as I get further in, I'm lightening up just a little bit. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of orange, and I'm going to start going over the lighter red with some orange and just going over and over and over, really building up that color. I want it to be very bright and vibrant. And again, along the edges is darker, and as I'm moving towards the middle, it's getting lighter and lighter. And once I get a little bit towards the middle, I am going to switch out my pencil once again with some yellow. And again, over and over and over, really building up. Look how bright and vibrant that color is. Just looking for any white spots and going over it again and again and making it super bright. A lot of times once I get to my lightest color, I'll use some white kind of as a blending tool to really kind of bring everything together. All right, here's your chance. Pause this video and try some burnishing. All right, now you might think I'm a little crazy with this next one, scribbling. It's not scribbling like you did when you were in K1. This is a controlled type of scribbling. What I'd like you to do is choose two colors that are close to each other on the color wheel. I just chose dark green, light green, and I think I did yellow there at the end. So what you're doing is you're really, really controlling your scribbles there. I'm not going outside of the lines. On one side of that rectangle, I use the darker color. And then in the center, I'm using my medium green. And then at the other end, I am using yellow, and notice that I'm slightly overlapping all of those colors, so it's not kind of a striped effect, so it's a gradual effect. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over and deepen that dark green and then deepen the other colors as well. I'll fast forward a little bit so you can see what it looks like at the end. And then, of course, pause the video and give it a go on your own. All right, last but not least, we've got some heavy pressure blending. Now, I'm using the same exact colors as I did in the light pressure blending box, just so you can see the difference. And now you notice I'm starting super dark even at the beginning because I know that the whole thing is going to be quite dark. So darker at the end, I am getting lighter towards the middle, but overall the effect is a lot darker than it was in the light pressure blending. So I'm going to get my blue and work from the other side. Now at the end, I'm actually working vertically. I'm putting some lines in the different direction because I know I'm eventually going to smooth them out with my horizontal line. So it's kind of like a trick so you can't see it. So here we go. I'm going lighter and lighter and lighter as we go towards the middle. Then I'm going to go really layer up the two colors together so that it's seamless. So it's a very gradual transition there from the green to the blue. There's not like a definite line. You don't need your passport to go in from the green to the blue. All right, pause the video, give it a go. Heavy pressure blending. Let's see what you got.